Hello, welcome to Nugget Shooter Journals. My name is Bill Southern, and today we're going to talk about meteorites. And mainly about some of the ones I have found over the time I've been metal detecting. And I get a lot of questions about meteorites. Are they worth anything? How do you find them? Can you do this? Can you do that? Yes, they are worth something. Some meteorites can be worth incredible amounts of money, and others that were larger falls and the strewn fields are larger. The individuals could be worth anywhere from a buck a gram up. And it's a lot of fun to find them. And just the fact that you're holding something in your hand that is 4.5 billion years old, it does not even belong on this planet. It is just fascinating to me and a lot of other people. And it turns out, because of the amount of nickel and iron in these meteorites, they're easily found with a metal detector. And I've made several finds over the years, meteorite finds, and I have actually made one meteorite find that was my own. And this was found out by my home at San Domingo here in a wash, or close to a wash, called Trilby Wash. And the meteorite itself was named Trilby Wash because of where it was found. And I'm listed as a finder. And I don't have any whole pieces because there's so little of it found, and it was mostly sold. This is a piece of Trilby Wash. Just had a window cut into it. I'll show you a better view of it later. And here's another piece off of it. And these have been cut. And they're nice pieces. And I think one weighs, let's see, we'll weigh them here. And this meteorite was worth about 14 bucks a gram. And let's see, this one weighs 11.5 grams. And this one here weighs 8.5 grams. And that was for the main mass. Later, as time went on and a few more pieces were found, the price went down a little bit. And I'm not sure what it's worth now. All I know is it's worth $1 million to me because it was my find. And I was recently out at Franconia, Arizona. This is another place I found a lot of meteorites. And I hunted out there years ago with John Blennert and Jim Smaller and a lot of other fellas, and we had a lot of fun out there finding meteorites. And John is the one that turned me on to the area. And I found several really nice pieces. And one of my nicer ones is the one I was just showing. And this is a Franconia meteorite. And this piece right here is an individual. And it weighs 327 grams. And that's a nice piece. And this meteorite is worth, I think, about 2 bucks a gram right now. So that's not too shabby. And I was out hunting there over the weekend, last weekend, and did pretty good. I'm going to grab the camera here and show you what I found and some of the stuff on the table here. Okay. And here we go about Franconia. I'm actually having a Patreon outing at the Franconia strewn field coming up here in a couple weeks. And these are the ones I got last weekend. This is a very nice piece. This one weighs 74 grams. And this one, I have cut a window in for you. That one's 75.4 grams. And this one was completely buried. And these are my Trilby Wash pieces here. And these are all Franconia irons. And it's debated, they think some bled off of the main mass as it came in, or off the smaller pieces as they came in after it came apart. And others say they don't match, they don't pair. So it's from another fall. And that's been debated for a long time, and it's really not been solved. And here's a couple I just got. These 2 irons I got on this latest trip. And these are some fragments and other pieces I got last weekend out there. And these were buried. And the reason I know they were buried, number one, is because I dug them up, but you can tell when you look at them because the meteorite itself gets rusty and starts decomposing. And you can see rust spots on it. But this is what's cool. This one has a window cut in it. And you can actually see the nickel and iron inside this meteorite. And I'm going to put some close-ups up of this. But by cutting the window, it gives you an idea of what's inside that meteorite. And they are so cool. Now, all the little spots you see in there, the silvery glowing spots, are nickel iron pieces inside the actual stony chondrite. And I like cutting a window in them just so you can see it. And long ago, I used to hunt out at Gold Basin a lot. This is a Gold Basin meteorite right here. And we hated the hot rocks out there. They're such a nuisance. I mean, everywhere we hunted, we found hot rocks. And these darn hot rocks drove us crazy. And I met a fellow named John Blenner. Oh geez, a long time ago. John and I are good friends. But he was telling a story about meteorites. And we're going to go into that right now. Okay, like I said, we had an outing and John started telling a story about meteorites and the finds they had made up at Gold Basin. And he started talking about how gold hunters, like me, would find all these horrible hot rocks like these, and we'd throw them in holes, we'd throw them in trees so we didn't have to detect them again. We'd just leave them. And John, being the more curious sort back in those days, I'd always told people you better identify everything. I didn't identify these. And I couldn't figure out what the rocks were, so I just gave up and didn't mess with them anymore. Just threw them away. They were hot rocks. I got them on my way and kept hunting gold. And it turns out John and a few other people found a bunch of these and took them in and had them classified. What is classified? Classified is where you go to a qualified individual or college, and they actually check the meteorite, check it chemically, look at it, decide what it is. They give you the shock, the amount of shock, what type of meteorite it is. This is an H4, I believe. No, L4. I'm sorry. This is an L4 meteorite. I do believe. Let me look before I put mud on my face. Yes. Okay, Gold Basin is an L4. And once they got it classified, they quietly scooped up a lot of that meteorite out there. And back then it was worth quite a bit of money, and it's still worth $1 or so a gram. And maybe more depending on the piece you have. And there's still a lot of it out there to be found. But it's amazing how much of that's been cleaned up over the years now by people out there hunting with metal detectors. They just scream on a metal detector on a VLF or a pulse induction machine. So I started getting into hunting meteorites. And as a result, I was hunting with a friend of mine, Jimmy Boxberger, in a patch, gold patch he'd found. And he was going to hunt the place he'd already been hunting. And he said, look around, man, it's a good area. There's probably more gold patches here. I no more than walked over the hill and I got a booming signal at the edge of a little wash. And I dug up a 420 gram rock, and it was a meteorite. And I had it classified by Laura Bleacher at ASU. And as a result, I got a meteorite with my name on it. Now, Trilby Wash is a L4. Okay, and the shock stage on it is S1, and the weathering grade is W3. Now, all this information is kind of hard to digest unless you do some studying and understand what it means, and we're not going to go into all that. I'm not a meteorite expert. I know how to find them. I really enjoy finding them, but after I find them, I'm like anybody else. I have to learn what the heck I found, and if it's been found before, and if not, it's exciting because, heck, I get to leave more in a grease spot now, don't I? Yep, I got a meteorite out there with my name on it. And I'm going to show you some close-ups of all these meteorites in this video. I'm also going to show you the information that's available on these meteorites online and elsewhere. And it's fascinating, like I said, to be able to go out and find rocks that don't even belong on this Earth. This thing is 4.5 billion years old, has been floating around in space, and fell down. It just fell down. Came through our atmosphere and hit the ground and laid there for me to find. And there were some big ones of the Franconia found. And some of the bigger ones were pounds and pounds, 26, 28-pound pieces of this thing. And pretty amazing. And there's a lot of them that people have found over the years that are in rock gardens and whatnot in Lake Havasu, and they don't even know what they have. We went to a guy's house up there one time, and he had a big one right in his rock garden. He goes, "Oh, I just thought it was a heavy piece of rock, so I brought it home." You know, it was about a 10-pounder. It was a really nice piece. I'm not going to say his name because, well, I didn't ask if I could. So anyway, that's what we're here to talk about, is hunting meteorites. And why would you do that? Simply because us guys metal detecting are a little bit nutty, and hunting meteorites and other things just fit right in with what we do anyway. And I'm really not in it for the money. I like making money off gold. I like making money off meteorites. But for me, the hunt and the find is the most amazing part. It really is. And being able to go out there and locate something nobody's ever seen before. You know, gold, same way. I mean, it's been in the ground. First guy to see it's you when you dig it up. Otherwise, it wouldn't still be there. Most people take it when they find it. And meteorites are the same thing, except a lot of times, like I told you earlier, people did throw them back and didn't dig them up. So I get asked a lot too about hunting with meteor canes in some of these strewn fields. The well-known ones, back in the day, the meteorite canes, which is a stick with a magnet on the end, worked quite well. And as the strewn fields get hunted out, and there's less and less meteorite material for you to find, metal detector is really the best way to go. Like I said, some of these were buried, and I wouldn't have found them with a magnet stick. And this one was poking up out of the ground just a little bit. You can see along the edges, and the top part was poking up. Now, the guy with the meteorite stick could have got that one, but it was in between a couple big basalt boulders, and that's why it was still there. And it's just your preference, I guess, but I prefer metal detecting to find meteorites. Now, a question I get a lot, and I mean a lot, anytime I post anything about meteorites, is why do they only fall in the desert areas, or why do you only find them in arid areas across the world? And why are most finds from those spots? A simple answer in a nutshell is weathering. A meteorite like this falls in Arizona out in the middle of the desert. It gets rained on not very often. And some of these things have been laying on the ground like 10,000 years before anybody ever picks them up. Okay, well, 10,000 years is an awful long time to be laying in the dirt anywhere that it rains, that you have vegetation, that you have a lot of moisture. And what happens is, because of the content of these being iron, nickel, and stone, they decompose pretty rapidly in geological terms. And 10,000 years in a muddy swamp, or 10,000 years in a wet cornfield in Iowa, really tears them up, and especially the chondrites. And some of the iron meteorites will last quite a bit longer. And there's been some amazing finds deep in the ground in some of these places. But also, along with weathering, you have that moist ground and a lot of rain coming down, and they sink rather rapidly into the soil. And they're just out of sight. You can't find them unless you get really lucky and nail one, which indicates more a lot of times. And that's why it's called a strewn field. Okay, and this thing came apart when it came into the atmosphere. And as it came apart, all these individuals came in and landed. And as they land, they come in and they leave a strewn field. Okay, and it can be huge. And I'll also show you a strewn field map of Franconia here in a little bit. And as you can see in the strewn field map, it was quite a big area this meteorite fell. Now, Trilby Wash, we have found pieces of it now in an area about 1 or 2 square miles. There's been a couple other pieces found. And Franconia, like I said, is a large one. Gold Basin's a huge strewn field, pieces everywhere out there. And like I said, they're still finding it. And there's a lot of other places you can find meteorites. There's guys that do nothing but that. A friend of mine, Larry Sloan, I miss him. He taught me a lot about meteorites as well. And Larry spent most of his time out camping in the deserts of Arizona and New Mexico and other places and looking for meteorites. And what they did was look for desert pavement, which is areas of desert is really arid, and there's been a lot of wind, which removes most of the actual topsoil and leaves a layer of gravel up there, so it's called desert pavement. And these meteorites will be pretty easy to spot in an area where nobody's found them before, laying right on top, just laying right on top. And he found a lot of meteorites that other people had never seen before, and that was pretty cool. And Larry's actually the one that got the main mass for my Trilby Wash, and he sold it to somebody else. And yeah, I got quite a list of guys I used to hunt with. What a bunch of characters. And everybody can find meteorites. And it's a little easier in some cases to find them than it is to find gold nuggets, because the actual GPS coordinates for the fall are listed in the meteoritical bulletin. And the meteoritical bulletin, you can go there and find every meteorite that's been classified. And it's really cool. And mine's there, Trilby Wash. You go there, look up Trilby Wash, it says found by William Southern. And I really enjoyed doing this, and I hope a lot of you will too once you get around to thinking, well, maybe I want to give this a try. And like I said, I have a Patreon page, and I do outings there a couple times a year. And at the end of this month, right around the end of the month, we're doing a Patreon outing where I'm going to take my patrons out to Trilby Wash. There's also gold in that area. So we're going to be hunting meteorites and gold out there for a couple days and eating some campfire cooked food and chatting. It's just a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll have a lot of nice finds out there. For getting out there and hunting meteorites, watch as much as you can. Anytime you find a rock you cannot identify, bring it home. And I can't stress this enough. I didn't do it one time myself, and I would have been real early in discovering Gold Basin if I would have did what I tell other people to do and actually took that rock home and beat it against my forehead until I figured out what it was. I just couldn't figure out what it was. The streak test was wrong. Everything just didn't work. I could not figure out what they were, and I gave up on them. But back then I had no idea about finding meteorites on the ground. I was a nugget hunter. Whoops. So anyway, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. And like I said, the close-ups you're going to see, or you have seen now in the video, are pretty amazing to me. And I know a few of you are going to get hooked on the meteorite thing. For other people look at it and they go, it's just an old space turd. That's what John called him. He coined that phrase. But to me, finding space rocks is pretty amazing. Something that fell from outer space and landed on this earth, and then you're able to pick that up and look at it and take it home with you, is a pretty amazing thing to me. So I hope this little talk on meteorites has helped you understand a little more about them. I wish I was an expert, but I am not. I'm an amateur when it comes to hunting meteorites. I know what I've got when I see it. I know when I find something I need to take home and identify better now. And I'm still amazed by them, but there's so much detail and so much to learn about these things that a guy that's really into stuff like this and learning is going to find himself a deep pool to dive in. There's an awful lot to learn. And if you like these videos, my friends, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the little bell down there so you don't miss them. And we're going to be doing some more meteorite hunts, and I'll be getting back to gold. Don't you worry about that. I still do my gold thing. And I like to mix things up a little bit. There's a lot of things I do in Arizona that just such an amazing state. And the things we can find, the places we can see, I just enjoy the heck out of it. So hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Nugget Shooter out.